What's up, everybody coming on? Thank you. I see the little hearts there. It's a new thing that I have these comments because they never ever worked except for the past week. They never worked before. I can't see them. I can't watch all your comments. I could see the little hearts and the balloons. Thank you guys for those. Thank you for coming on my live. I have a few things to talk about. I'm going to wait another minute so that a few more people can get on. Um, I'm kind of surprised. I'll wait to talk here. Let me see. What does that say? What does that say? 28. I think I'm gonna wait another minute or so. Might be a little the wrong time to get on here though. For a lot of people, that's okay. That's all right. We'll see what happens in another 30 seconds. I have a few important things to talk about. I'm gonna try to make my words count. Um, and again, I am aware that there are people out there that take every single thing that you say, edit it, and clip it, and try to make you look bad. And so, whatever, I'm not going to worry about that. I'm just going to speak with plain speech as easy as I can to get what I'm saying across. And I'm not going to cuss. I'm finished with that. I had a lot of anger towards some people online here and just the situation of the world in general, where we are, where we've been at, where we've been at for a long time in seeking the truth as far as Christianity, quote unquote. Like I said, if you want to get technical, Paul never calls us Christians. It was in Antioch in Acts chapter 9 when other people started calling saints Christians. But we're actually called saints, those of us who are saved, who are elect, who are justified by God. That's what we are called biblically. So I was just frustrated with so many people online getting away with so much. And I can see that a lot of people do what I try to do. They try to do too. When they make videos, they try to speak educated, sound educated. Um, in other words, they try to speak professionally. They try to, walk the line, so to speak. Because I know when the camera goes off, we're all a little different people. We're casual. We might act a little different. But when the camera goes on, it's almost like we're representing, doing a job. We want to represent the word right. So I was getting tired of having to do this, right? Walk the line, not cuss, be professional in all my videos, and still doing that and still having people hate on me and hate on other people who are at least trying to do the best that they know. And, I was over here, for a long time, for years, just trying to be as straight as possible, not sound foolish, put the information out, the data that I was finding. And still, you have people, no matter what you do, that they are going to hate on you. They're going to try to make you look as bad as possible. And so I had it. I had it with Christianity. I had it with the situation of the world, how blind people are. I had it with people online. I had it with, how people don't care around you. And so that was what fueled my videos that I cussed a lot, because I'm going to be honest with you, it makes me feel good, like a release, right? Like a release, like you've had all this, you know what? I was like, I don't care anymore. These people need to get blasted, verbally, the way that I really feel that I want to do it. And so I did it. And I'm going to leave the videos up. I'm going to leave all my videos up. I'm not one to delete anything. I don't care what people think, you know. Most of the people online, or not most, but some people online are fake. They're fake. And Like I mentioned names, Bruce Peterson, you know, he is not a good person. I'm not cussing this time, but he's a very bad person. All he does is point out everybody's error, and he nitpicks them, and he clips and edits every single thing somebody says. Candace does the same thing, and then when somebody gets something wrong, they make it like it's the end of the world, and you know they're horrible people. Even though we know 1 Corinthians 13 says that we know in part, that we see in part, we prophesy in part. So there's a dispensational change that maybe if Bruce Peterson wasn't out for blood so much, that he would actually take the time to study the Bible and understand that there's a dispensational change from the way Old Testament prophets work as to the way prophecy works in the New Testament, in which Paul writes in 1 Corinthians 13, we know in part, only in part. We're trying to put all this stuff together. We're all trying to understand everything. We know we prophesy in part. That's for today. We see through a glass darkly. If any of you guys have a chance, go read 1 Corinthians chapter 13. It explains how things work today. It's not like the Old Testament where God tells somebody exactly what he wants them to do, exactly word for word. They don't have to sit and study a Bible or a book or a letter. They don't have to look what everybody else is saying and compare notes. They don't do any of that in the Old Testament prophets. They get a direct word from God. They know exactly what they have to do, just like Noah, just like Jonah, just like Moses, and they do it. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. That's how Old Testament prophets worked with God. Today, it's not like that. And that's one of the reasons that I knew that Joshua, this guy Joshua, was making stories up. Now, that goes to say that, I came to the same conclusion as him, but we got there in totally different ways as far as September 23rd and 24th. I got there 3 years ago. I have all the videos from 3 years ago. He got there, he says 7 years ago, by these horrendous, fantastical stories on how, Jesus Christ came to him and, had lunch with him and they went to Disneyland and Jesus Christ told him when the rapture was and all this stuff. Yeah, we came to the same conclusion, but in different ways. He's making up stories and probably watching videos on YouTube, right? It's so easy to learn about these things on YouTube and the internet. And he learned about them in one way or the other. It wasn't the way that he said. And then, he was being pushed by the algorithms. He was being pushed by the powers that be online, and automatically that's a red flag when somebody's going viral. Just like that, how they're going all over. Everybody online was talking about this guy, Joshua. You have to stop and say, okay, there's something wrong here. Why is this guy going viral? And it's amazing to me how many Christians actually believed his fairy tales. And again, I'm not saying that it wasn't worth it. I mean, like I said, we came to the same dates, but he's just making up fantastical stories on how he got there, right? So, yeah, I was like, why are all these people believing these crazy stories that he's saying, right? Don't they know how easy it is to find this out and then just make up a big story like that to make, to do whatever? I don't know what his goal was. Was it to deceive people? Um, or was it just that he wanted to be somebody, now he's recognized, right? Whatever it was, um you know I don't know, but I was surprised how many Christians were just like taken by him. I'm like, really, you guys are believing these fantastical stories on how, him and Jesus went to Knott's Berry Farm and had breakfast together, and then he told them the date of the rapture, and then they played patty cake. Like, really? You guys believe that's how we got this information? Do you know how easy it is to look up this information online? It's so easy. Everybody makes videos about the Feast of Trumpets. I made videos about the Feast of Trumpets years ago that got thousands of views. You could have watched those videos. You could go on the internet and learn about the Feast of Trumpets in 10 minutes. Learn about the last trump, learn how it's called the day that no man knows the day or the hour, learn about how it's called the day of shouting, the day of the trumpet blast, how it's the highest watch day of the year for the rapture. All these things you can learn in 10 minutes on the internet if you know where to go. It might take a little longer if you don't know. So I was like, why are people believing these weird stories from this guy? And they're still believing them. I'm like, really? And I know there's people out there like, well, about the Julian calendar, and I'm with that. Like, I'm like, that's a very big possibility because I've done videos on that now, and that looks really amazing. How there is well, I'm not going to get all into that. You guys have seen my videos. If you haven't, go watch my last 3 videos. But that's a big possibility too, that the 23rd and 24th on the Julian hasn't passed yet. Regardless if that's the rapture or if it's not, I'm surprised that people actually believe these crazy stories that Joshua is saying. That is not how prophecy works today. Read 1 Corinthians 13. We know in part, we see in part, all of us as a corporate body. We all have to come to our conclusions through data and information and revelation by God in the mind, by watching other people, by studying Bibles, even different Bibles, by all kind of history, all kinds of things. Not like Joshua was saying. That story is way out there, okay? So, yeah, I'm surprised. Like, people that I watch all the time, they just automatically believe these wild fantasies that Joshua was saying. I'm like, really? Come on. And I made a video, like what, a month ago, saying how the same thing that I'm saying, like, this guy's lying, but I did come to the same date that he is, but anybody could come to that date if you just do 15 minutes of study online, figure out the Feast of Trumpets and stuff. So I don't know, man. Yeah. So people are always talking about that guy. That guy's in people's heads. And I brought that up again also to talk about that because I heard from another channel, a female, a lady. I forgot her name, but some of you might know her. She's a little independent channel, kind of like mine, kind of like most of us, just voices crying out in the wilderness. And she said that some people have killed themselves because the rapture didn't happen. And that kind of affected me for a minute. I'm like, because because I never thought like that. Like, oh, the rapture doesn't happen, I'm gonna take my life. I never thought anything like that for myself, and I didn't really think that people thought like that. I didn't really think of it. It didn't cross my mind. So I was like, dang, that's sad. Because I'm all for life. You know what I mean? Whether it's my little fishes that I have, little tetras, cutest little fish, you know, um, I really like just to watch them. But the fact is that it's life. Their life. To a person. I don't want to see any life die. And so that affected me, and I kind of got sad. And it's because the rapture didn't come, and she was very mad at Joshua for being false. And you know, I was thinking there a few thoughts came to my mind. One of the thoughts came to my mind is that and I have to be me. You know what I mean? And this is from me. My thoughts is that that's very sad that somebody is going to take their life because the rapture didn't happen on a day that somebody said it would. Because I did the same. I said that the rapture was going to happen on that day too. I was fully convinced. However, in the because even though people are going to take it that drastic, that we cannot sit back and say, "Well, I'm not going to talk about things because it's going to affect other people like that." What I can do is encourage people out there to not take your life if the rapture doesn't happen. And how to do that, I'm not exactly sure because I never thought like that. I never got to the point where I'm gonna take my life because the rapture doesn't happen. So I don't really have that much advice for somebody that's in that position. But all I can say is this: is that the rapture is very biblical. We all have the right to talk about it. We all have the right to say when we think it is. There's some people out there that purposely mislead people, but a lot of us are not purposely misleading people. We're just showing you what we know and what we come up with or what we think we know, the data that we have. So again, it's very sad that people would actually take their lives because the rapture doesn't happen. But again, if somebody is that low in their, however you want to put it, if they're at that point, I think that, that person would probably take their life for other reasons as well, not just because the rapture didn't happen. All I'm saying is that if a person is at that tipping point, there's something else more wrong than just the rapture didn't happen, right? Because that person is obviously in a very bad point in their mind, in their life, in their spirit. And I think it has a lot more to do than the rapture just didn't happen because, you know, that's that's just one thing. I mean, if it wasn't that, they would probably, a person that low would probably take their life probably for another reason, that something else that didn't affect them, like if they get dumped by a girlfriend or boyfriend, or if they lose their job. Like that's how low one can get. And so it's very sad. However, biblically, we have the right to talk about the rapture as much as we want, and we have a right to talk about when we think it is as much as we want. And, that's one of the things in America that they're actually going to try to do, that they actually try to do. Like, if they want to take guns or a certain gun, they'll do false flag attacks, right? They'll say, see, we have to take everybody's guns because there's crazy people out there who use them and do bad things. So they use that, right? So we don't want this to turn into that, right? Like, well, we could say that about anything. Somebody can get online and say something about something that somebody doesn't like about the Bible and still take their lives. It doesn't have to be the rapture; it could be anything. Like some of these guys who expose these false teachers and stuff. Like, and I'm talking about like the total nonsense teachers. How they expose them, and what if somebody gets real depressed and say, "That's my favorite teacher," and you're talking bad about them? I'm going to take my life. So what? So now you can't talk about anybody online because people are threatening to take their lives. They're going to take their life. No, see, it doesn't work like that. It's unfortunate. It's very sad that anybody would go there to that level. But again, that also could be used as a tactic to try to silence people, to try to put guilt on people, as if it's somebody's fault that somebody else took their life. We could do that with anything. What if a boss fires a person from their career for 20 years and then they take their life? Well, did that boss have the right to fire the person? Sure. Does that mean that that boss can't fire anybody anymore? No, that's not how it works. If that person takes their life because they got fired, well, that doesn't mean that the boss, can't fire anybody anymore. That's just the way how it works. So my encouragement to people that are that low, like if the rapture doesn't happen on a certain day, they're going to take their life. Don't do it. Obviously, don't do it. But you are obviously at a very low point in your life, in your spirit, in your mind, and the problem is not just the rapture with somebody that low, which I've been pretty low, but I think that that person needs to seek help, however they can, whether it's stopping doing something or if it's finding help through, some type of people, like loving people, or whatever you got to do it, because it's not just the rapture that's going to make somebody, it might be a tipping point, but there's obviously a lot more wrong with that person than just the rapture didn't happen if they're going to go to that level. So again, we don't want anybody to do that out there. Obviously, that's very sad. But again, we can't just stop speaking about things because people are going to overreact to them. You know what I mean? It's like, well, people drink and drive every day, right? and they kill people when they crash. Well, should we ban all cars because people drink and drive every day and kill people? No, you can't just ban all cars. Well, should we stop talking about the timing of the rapture because people are going to take their lives if it doesn't happen? It's the same idea. Is everybody getting that? It's the same idea. And I'm just being honest. That's just logic. That's just logic. But it's very sad. So don't take your life, man. Focus on something else. If that's the case, then just focus on something else. Don't focus on the rapture. If that's what you have to do, don't focus on it. If the rapture day, if somebody says it's going to be at some time and it never comes, just don't even think about it. Don't even focus on the rapture. Find it. Obviously, that person wants a way out of their situation, and the rapture would be that way. So what I'm saying is find another way out of your situation, whatever your situation is. I don't know what everybody's situation is out there. It could be a million situations. Maybe you're in a relationship that you just want out of. Maybe you're stuck in jail or prison. That's a possibility. Maybe you're addicted to drugs and alcohol and you just want out of it through the rapture. Find another way out then. If that's going to take you to the tipping point of taking your life, find another way out and don't depend on the rapture. I have to be honest with you. Just do it like that. If it's a drug and alcohol problem, get into NA, Narcotics Anonymous, or get into a support group like AA. Or if it's a bad relationship, there's a lot of, well, at least in America, there's a lot of ways out. Are you scared to leave that person because the Bible says you're not supposed to? Or are you scared to do it because of financial reasons? I can't figure everybody's problems out, but what I'm saying is if the rapture is going to take you overboard, if it doesn't happen where you're going to take your life, find another way, look to another way out of your situation. And it's reasonable. I can understand because life is hard. And trust me, do you think that I've never been in situations where I just want out? I'm kind of in one right now. I'm not way at the bottom, but I am in a place where I don't really want to be. But I'm thankful because, I have my normal amenities, but I don't really want to be here, but I'm not going to take my life if I can't leave. So again, I think a lot of people out there in situations, they want to find another way. Don't depend on a rapture date. And for, if the rapture date is going to come and go and then you're going to take your life, then just look to another way out. There's ways out of things in life sometimes, you know, there's got to be ways. So that's just kind of one thing I want to talk about because, geez, I heard that lady say that, and I'm like, really? Because I didn't even think of anything like that. Because I never thought of doing that. Because I've been waiting for the rapture. I've been waiting for September 23rd and 24th on the Gregorian calendar for almost 3 years. And not once did I think, geez, if it doesn't happen, I'm going to just take my life. I never thought about that. When it was coming up, I was like, if it doesn't happen, then I'm going to be surprised. But I'm not going to take my life. But apparently there were people out there thinking that. So for all you guys thinking that about the rapture, don't. Just get another way. Find another way out. The Bible says that Jesus is the way maker. So doors open and shut in life. And look for that door. Whatever it is. And in a positive way. In a positive light. Don't do anything bad to get out of your situation. Don't even, like, I got no money, so I'm going to go rob a bank or rob some people to get out of my situation. No, don't do that. You're not getting out of a situation. You're getting into a situation with God because that's not right. Or, I'm in this situation. I'm going to do something bad to get out of it. No, don't do that. That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying find a positive way to get out of your situation other than depending on a rapture date, because if your situation is that low. Now, if you're in a situation in your mind and your spirit and your heart where it's not like where you're not gonna take your life if the rapture date comes and goes, then focus on the rapture as much as you want. If that's what you want. But if you're a person that is at that point where if the rapture doesn't happen on this day, I'm gonna do that, no. That's not good. That's not good. It can turn into bad things. Good things can turn into bad things. Think about it. Remember that. Good things can turn into bad things. Water is great for you. But if you drink way too much, you can get sick. Somebody even died from doing that. That's just like anything else. Fruit, fruit is good for you. Meat is good for you. You know, meat is good for you. But if you consistently eat too much meat, bad things can happen. Eat too much fruit consistently, bad things can happen. Everything in balance. So a good thing can any good thing can become a bad thing. Even the Bible. People you say, what are you talking about? Well, when you read the scriptures, but you have a bad understanding, then it can be a bad thing, right? And it could be a bad thing as to, shape your life and put you in a mindset where you shouldn't be, right? And that's what happens with a lot of people, right? They think that they have to do all these things to be saved, so they're in this negative mind state. There's just so many things. Anything good out of proportion can turn into a bad thing. And that goes for the rapture dates or the rapture in general or anything. I'm telling you, anything. Okay. So that's one thing I wanted to talk about. Because it did make me sad that somebody would actually do that people actually did that. And, that's, Joshua, making up stories. He's the one that in God's eyes is going to be responsible for stuff like that, because if you're it depends where his conscience is, right, what's his motivations and intentions, and if his motivations and intentions were to deceive people and then people off themselves, you're going to be in a lot of trouble. You're going to be in a lot of trouble sometime. Now, there were other people that were wrong about that date, like me. My intentions were pure, my motives were pure. It didn't come to pass. However, now we're on the Julian calendar, but it's different. It all depends where the heart is at. What is your motivations and intentions, right? So, moving on. Moving on. I can't see your guys' comments. I appreciate them though. Moving on, I have another video that I'm gonna put out tomorrow about Second Peter chapter 3, verses 3 and 4, I believe, about the mockers and scoffers in the last days. We can definitely see a lot of people coming out of the woodworks and becoming mockers and scoffers when they didn't have too much to say before. Now it seems like we're getting people out there that we never saw before that now they're really going at it. So I want to talk about 2 Peter chapter 3, verses 3 and 4 tomorrow. I have my video already made. It's a little late to put it out right now. I just wanted to go live and talk about that a little bit. I want to encourage people out there that remember, at the time of the rapture, it's going to look normal. It's going to look normal. Now, the days are not normal, but it's going to look normal. And that's exactly how it looks right now. And that's how it's going to look up until the time of the rapture. That's it. And that's something that everybody has to remember, because some people out there are looking for certain, chaos and all this stuff. I don't believe any of that happens, real chaos, till after the rapture. I think it's simultaneous. And I think that's what they're getting real set up for right now, is to use Project Bluebeam and all kinds of things to deceive the world. This whole alien agenda, deception, right? And that can lull people to sleep, though, too. If you don't know the scriptures as far as how it looks before the rapture, that can lull you to sleep, because you can look around and say, oh, the rapture, schmapture, yeah, right. Look at how it is, man. I can go to Jack in the Box. I can go to the store, everything's fine. The rapture, haha. See, and you can get lulled to sleep because of the environment around you. But if you know the Bible, that's exactly how it's going to look at the rapture. So don't get deceived by that. Because I know sometimes I catch myself looking around and going, geez, it's so mundane. It's so regular, right? Like the stores are open and the sun is shining. If that's really the sun, who knows, right? They have artificial sun now. And, people are driving around, right? The air, I can breathe, I can walk around. Things are so mundane and normal, but then I catch myself because I know the Bible. And I'm like, that's exactly how it's gonna be up until the rapture. Exactly. They're gonna be eating and drinking and marrying and giving in marriage until the flood takes them all away. And in Second Peter chapter 3, it says something to the same effect. That the mockers and the scoffers are going to be saying, oh, where is the promise of his coming? Everything is the same since the beginning, right? So don't be deceived just because it looks normal, because it's definitely not normal. And we are coming up to the time where, in a twinkle of an eye, everything changes. So, anyways, thank you guys for listening. I just wanted to get a few things off my chest. I have my video for tomorrow. A lot of comments. I can't see them. My eyes are no good. God bless you guys. If you're in a low spot, just find another way out if that's what you have to do. you know. But I just want to encourage people to just keep going forward. Keep moving forward. God bless you guys all. Thank you for watching. I really appreciate your views. I appreciate your likes. Oh, and some of you guys, that's right. Some of you guys, a couple of you guys donated to me on my Cash App the other day. Really appreciate that. Very nice of you. I always can use the money to. Most of my money, honestly, just goes to food and drinks and then just regular stuff for where I live. So I appreciate it. All greatly appreciated. And I will post my video tomorrow. The comments go too fast. I can't read them. But anyways, thank you guys all. God bless. Stay in there. Stay in the fight. We're on the Julian calendar now, which is 13 days behind the Gregorian calendar. So today it's like, what, 9/14, 9, or excuse me, I don't know, like 9/15, 9/14, 9/16, something like that. So we have September 23rd and 24th actually coming up again. And it's on a full moon, a full super moon. And the super moon, full moon, is called the harvest moon. And if you guys want some encouragement for that, go read Proverbs chapter 7, verses 19 and 20, and get your mind blown. Again, go read Proverbs chapter 7, verses 19 and 20, and you're going to be like, whoa, this whole full moon business. And also read Psalm 81, verse 3, about the Feast of Trumpets and the full moon, and you're going to be like, wait a second, this is all coming together, isn't it? So September 23rd and 24th, here we come again. It's like a blessing in disguise, right? It's like, oh, the 23rd and 24th passed. What? That don't make no sense. Oh, it's coming again? Oh, good. I was like, when I heard that, when I seen it, I was like, phew. Right? But again, if it don't happen, it don't happen. But these things are lining up. But if it don't happen, it don't happen. We're not going to take our lives. We're going to keep moving forward, and we're going to keep loving loving the promise of its coming, because we know it's coming very, very, very soon. And that's a fact. So thank you guys all. God bless. Coming up to September 23rd and 24th, yet again. Like Jim Carrey in that movie, he's like, if I'm not back in 10 minutes, just wait longer. That's the rapture, right? If the rapture doesn't come on September 23rd, just wait longer. All right, thanks. See ya.